Good day, everyone. I'm Anna Spinskaya. I'm a pianist, and I'll be your host today for this program. Welcome to Sound Espressivo. Sound Espressivo is a new generation of classical music competition which offers contestants to perform in live broadcasts, television style, from their own locations, anywhere in the world. Sound Espressivo panel of judges represents top performing artists and music educators from around the globe. Sound Espressivo offers an unprecedented array of awards for musicians. Welcome to our podcast, Meet the Judges, Music Promoters and Managers, and Music Educators.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
Welcome to the extraordinary community of international artists, music managers, educators, promoters, music lovers. Today's podcast is dedicated to introducing the managers who are offering prizes at the competition, but not only, they're supporting musicians around the world in these difficult times and in easier times too. Our distinguished guests today are Irma de Jong and Gianriccardo Pera, joining us from Switzerland and Italy. Welcome, Irma. Welcome, Gianriccardo. It's just such an honor to have you here. And I'm thrilled and so excited about this program because I myself want to hear the opinions and the insights of the people behind the scenes of the music performance and music teaching world. Managers are the driving force behind every one of the events which we see and in which we participate. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
I think you yourself are an excellent example of a manager who made something, a dream come true into this wonderful classical music world.
Thank you. Musicians are turning to be more active in this new world, right?
Well, and they should.
Yeah, I think we should. Yesterday we had a program also with 3 musicians who are doing a lot of helping and managing work too. This is incredible to see this happening. You both are longtime music promoters and supporters. You are professional managers with many years of experience. Irma, you have worked with artists of the greatest stature on numerous projects, on performances. You have very successfully worked with artists in the realm of conventional classical music management for close to 30 years. You produced countless events in the realm of physical concert venues, and that work involves many other aspects of production, not immediately visible or apparent to the audience: managing artists' contracts, managing programming, planning international travel, rehearsals, just to name a few. Irma, you have a background in musicology as well, and you're an accomplished businesswoman. You founded Cicerone Music and Arts, and you're the CEO of the iClassical Academy. This is just such a wealth of experience and insight you're bringing into the Sound Espressivo project. We're so forever grateful for your input. Thank you.
Okay.
And Gianriccardo, you have worked in the television industry, which is also a very active and important part of the performance, of classical music performance, as a director, a manager, and producer of the television shows. You are the technical director of the iClassical Academy, and you manage communications and video productions. So between the two of you, we're going to get the scope of a lot what's involved, and I hope for a lot of insights how musicians can and should go forward to continue to stay relevant and be successful. currently
you.
musicians and managers are more than motivated to take a much more serious look at what the online productions, performances, teaching is. For many, there is a little more in it than a huge source of frustration and, frankly, an intimidating prospect of mammoth learning curve. You both embraced the internet. You learned what virtual space can offer. And you're big advocates and supporters of musicians who are taking courageous steps into the new realm. For many of us, this is a completely new area, completely new realm we have to learn. Your company is providing enormous wealth of resources for musicians, and it's organized in such an effective way. Please tell us about your company and the philosophy behind the work you do.
Well, maybe I will start to say something about iClassical Academy, which we actually started in 2014. And it was the year where we started to produce, because of course, before you have an academy online, you need to have material, you need to have content and master classes and interesting classes for musicians and teachers and anybody who is interested in classical music education. And this is how we started. And our philosophy from the beginning was to really offer a platform for a global audience and not excluding anyone. So we also have a platform where you can find professional teachers, professional musicians, you find students, you find amateur musicians. So everybody has the opportunity and the chance to join iClassical Academy and to start studying online. And so this is basically, really in a nutshell, and further on we will talk about many other things. But this is basically in a nutshell how we started. And then we launched our website in 2015. And of course, as a startup, you always find some trouble, some complications. We learned a lot anyway. If you are active on internet, you always learn a lot. And you have to be very much be ready to always learn, because it's never there. It's always evolving. There's always something new, a new technique coming in, or new developments. So we really learned to be open all the time, also to listen to the audience, what they need, what they want. And I think that by now, well, also watching now what you are telling about us and presenting everything, I think by now we have really a rich academy.
Yes, you definitely are. And I want to underline the two things you pointed out as a philosophy is the principle of approach, inclusivity, to offer the classical music to any level of interest and all levels of involvement, but to offer it on the highest quality level possible. And the second one, extremely important to me, is being open to continuously evolve and learn ourselves. And that is something important for musicians to embrace. It's not like once we finished our academic study in the conservatories or wherever and earned some sort of reputations, we're done learning. Yeah. It's just the beginning. I want to underline those. I think those are really extraordinary, practical, and important advices. Gianriccardo, would you please give us your part?
Yes. Well, as Irma said, we started in 2014. Actually, I joined the team a little later, so it was the last one, let's say, to join the team. But I remember that in 2014, online learning was a possibility, and today it's a reality. So what we were thinking that it would be the future, now it's the present, as we are already in another future, because online technology means not only to be ready, as Irma said, to evolve, to improve technically with new features, new facilities for the users and all of that, but also to be ready to evolve according to the different mentality that the user have in approaching to the online learning, right? Because in 2014 it was a possibility, and today it's a reality. So we were paying attention in general, and this is what we do every day, not only to what can be technically improved, but what can really help the users to get the best out of online learning.
Incredible that you bring up 4 years ago that was a possibility. Today is the reality, and today especially, it is a overwhelming and demanding reality, as we are all in the currently difficult situation, and a
Yeah.
lot of venues are closed. So musicians who for years could practically ignore the online learning, online performing, and the online presence of the art now pretty much cannot ignore it any longer.
Absolutely, and I mean, it could sound strange to say like this, but actually, this crisis, the virus, I mean, actually accelerated a new way of a new fruition of online learning, of online performing, that would have come anyway. But in this particular period, you know, it left everyone without any alternative. So before you could think, okay, do I prefer to go online or not? Now there is no preference. We have to be online, which, by the way, puts us in the condition to accelerate our efforts. We will talk about that later, probably, to be ready to provide a lot of features in our job, in what we do.
Yeah, because a lot of people are coming into this and they're new and they need quality content. They need also guidance in how to navigate the space. And one of the spaces which musicians are starting to learn how to navigate, how to prepare for, is the virtual stage space, which is the actual virtual live performance. We are more familiar with pre-recording and uploading our videos and recording for labels. Majority of professional performing musicians had done that for years. Now, this is not exactly continuation of the same. It's somewhat different, and it is a new stage which is taking root and is becoming very prevalent and very present. And virtual concert halls has created a stage for musicians and is providing that stage for Sound Espressivo competition. We are embracing everyone and anyone who is going to take the courage and step on our stage.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
I was so happy.
So virtual concert halls is the technology and the virtual stage behind what we provide with the Sound Espressivo to the contestants. So we're giving the contestants an opportunity to perform on this in this new format. We rely on the technology and the systems which were developed by virtual concert halls, of course, with a huge collaboration with many and many people who shared their expertise. And Irma and Gianriccardo, your expertise was a big part of that, and professionals from the television industry, from sound engineering, to developers, but all of that is prepared for musicians to start. So how do you see this the future of the virtual stages?
Well, first of all, I was really thrilled to discover that you exist and that you took this initiative and to work it out. Because as I said earlier, it's important to follow on the internet what is going on, and we were really trying to find a good virtual concert hall platform, which turned out that you have developed that and you are developing every day, which is normal. So that's the first thing. But I would like to, it's definitely the future. It's not even the future, it's the now already. And I would just like to tell you a little story that happened to me many years ago. So, as you said already, I'm also an artist manager, and I have a couple of artists. And of course, right now, this activity is very much reduced because of the situation. But many years ago, I was always desperately, sometimes, looking to find concerts for my artists, which was not always easy because you have a lot of big artist agencies and they sort of rule the world. But not only that, I back in 2009, I was trying to find concerts for one of my violinists in Switzerland. And to my big surprise, I received a letter from a very important hall in Zurich. And they wrote to me that unfortunately they were not able to host my violinist because, and then they were listing in this letter 5 or 6 names, they were used to work with this group of violinists. And when I read that letter, I was thinking, whoa, so you determine what the audience get to hear. And there is no chance for my violinist or many others to get on that stage. And also internet, I'm telling you this because internet changed this all. Internet really changed this all, and you all probably know this. One of the very first pianists who also got famous because she was so much on internet and using this tool on YouTube was Valentina. I'm never able
Lisica?
to find. Esatto. So that was her, and she was the first, let's say, YouTube artist. And then the next incredible thing happened to me. I think it was in 2010 or 11, maybe 2010. I approached another hall in the Netherlands for an artist. And he said, well, Irma, I don't have really room. Maybe next season we will see. And then he got very enthusiastic and he told me, but you know what? We have this big star this year coming, the big YouTube star. And I looked at him and I said, YouTube star, who's that? Yes, this pianist Valentina, again.
Lisica.
Esatto. And I was astonished. I thought, wow. So, how quickly things can change. And she was able to create her own audience, and she was able to, through this YouTube, get invited to really, not, let's say, the important hall, but to an important hall in the Netherlands. And that's when, and that was back in 2009 and 10, and this is how slowly internet changed the world. And so I think a virtual stage is very important, and I'm sure that also Rick can add something to that.
Yes, well, at the present moment, we have different opinions because it was like this also for online learning. It's still like this also for online learning, and we have different opinions about online performing now. It's pretty natural when a new system starts and a new fruition of music starts. Now we have, let's say, two main parts. The ones who are very enthusiastic to join online performing, they are a lot. Luckily for us, they are really a lot. And then there is a group that will say, well, yes, but it's not the same thing. There is not the audience, and without the audience, you cannot really. Well, I'm not a professional musician. Okay, I'm not taking care of a career as a professional musician, so I don't dare to judge it. But as a matter of fact, not only online performing will help, but it also allows the audience to have a different fruition. For example, you can buy a ticket online for a concert, then watch it from your home, which means sharing with the family, with other people. You can have a drink while you watch the concert, which is totally new, which would be totally new. It never happened, in theaters.
Oh,
You
you will
just
be
sit.
ousted from the theater if you dare to eat or drink or talk or
Exactly.
interact in the concert.
You risk to be arrested. Yeah.
You will be escorted out.
Exactly, escorted out. This doesn't happen anymore, and this is something that every musician should seriously consider. And then, we are not saying that online performing has to totally replace the live performance. Later on, when this crisis will be over, it will be sooner or later, we will have musicians play in their own venues, maybe small venues, maybe medium, maybe very large, and having an online audience. So one thing is not killing the other. It just gives the potential to reach more audience, to get more money, to have more visibility, to dialogue with more people. So it's like what we call a sort of perestroika, something that now has started and it will never come back.
I can't agree more because, like you pointed out, reaching the audience farther and wider through simultaneous performance in the physical venue and through the internet is incredible. And I believe there is a possibility to earn a lot more money through that because our audience is going to save money. They don't have to buy an international ticket to attend the concert. They can do it in the comfort of their home. And same for the artists. As a performer, I've traveled so much, and traveling to different places is fun, but it becomes less fun if you have to prepare to perform, and if you have to travel from one place to another, and you don't really have time to see or sightseeing. You're so focused on the next program you have to play. Now, I can reach the audience in different countries from my own studio, and I can play on my own beloved piano. It's a very good piano. Not every concert hall provides me with such a good instrument. So, but this also brings us to the role of the self-management for the artist. Uh, I'm sure you have a lot of insight and a lot of advice to the musicians how to enter the realm of virtual presence, because Valentina Lisica did it herself.
Right. Well, again, I think it's very important. It's very important to develop these skills because, as I was mentioning already, okay, maybe this whole crisis also broke a little bit the role of large, important artist management offices. Of course, I really regret if I see that some office has to close because they cannot afford anymore. There are not enough concerts. Of course, this is all very sad, but I think that it creates also opportunities because, first of all, if the market is not anymore so much ruled by certain people that have power and have the power also to put certain artists into the light, and it's more difficult for young people to start or people that are less famous to get into the market, then the internet offers you the possibility to work on this yourself. But you need to have, first of all, commitment to do this, and you have to have determination to learn it. And I think that, again, what we said earlier, you have to be open to evolve, and that maybe first time doesn't work, next time it will work. But you have to become a complete, as we call it in iClassical Academy. We're also launching new master plans for this. We call it the 360 degree musician. And that means that you cannot only be focused only on your instrument or your voice. The technique, the interpretation, music theory, all of this is very important, and we realize and we also value this very much. But more important, even important, is that you know what comes to it to sell yourself. And sometimes when I say sell yourself to a musician, it's very difficult for them, and they say, sell yourself. It sounds too much marketing or too much selling. But you know, you have to get used to this. I always say, also in my course, you have to sort of create a persona, which is your musician persona and your private persona. And the musician persona, you want to have it on stage, whether it's a virtual or a physical stage. You want to be on stage, or maybe you want to do other things. You can create so many other things. But before and to get there, you need to know also about how to build your audience, how to do promotion, how to communicate, how to write a good bio, for example. I can tell you another long stories about this, which I will not do. But this is also a very important item. So you need to know a lot of different skills, and you have to be willing to also learn it. And I think that's something that can also be fun. You know, it's not like, oh my God, I have to learn this. No, it's just a skill that you don't master it yet, and it's a challenge to obtain it.
And this is incredible, because you're talking about the motivation and commitment to be learning these new skills and doing it yourself, the self-management part. There is another side to me as an artist in that, which when I'm involved in my own career, whether I do it completely by myself or with help of the managers, but I'm involved and I have an input in there, I have an opportunity also to connect with my audience on a much more personal level. And as an artist, I was trained to be on stage. Why? Because I wanted to be on stage. And I wanted to be on stage. Why? Because I wanted to connect with the audience. And I wanted that connection to be coming from my own personal worth, from my own personal value, and from my own personal artistry. So this can be seen as a obstacle of something people have to learn, but it also can be seen as a continuation of me as an artist, because how I shape my career reflects me as an artist very much. And I'm the only one who knows who I am as an artist, right? Who knows that better? So for me personally, this is a opportunity. But what both of you, Gianriccardo and Irma, please, if you can comment on what do you see are the major payoffs, if we can call it that way, for musicians to make the investment of time and effort into learning what's involved and learning how the internet space works and all of the things which you mentioned, and also investing, let's face it, investing some funds into the technology which is required.
Gianriccardo, you go first.
Well, first, let's say that we, meaning all people that work behind the scenes for online learning or online performing. Of course, we are trying to use the technologies in order to make the usage, the utilization from a user as easy as possible, as intuitive as possible, and of course as fast as possible. I think as a first feature of online learning, the possibility to confront yourself and to learn from different teachers, which come from different cultures and from different places and from different experiences, which is only possible online. Because when you go to conservatory, of course, it's very important to have the chance to go to a conservatory and to study. But of course, you will be sort of restricted to that kind of teaching, which comes from a single conservatory. You cannot pretend to attend a conservatory in Rome and another one in London and another one in New York to see what different methods of teaching they have. If you're lucky, you will have the possibility to attend one. Now, online learning, the first thing that you notice, we have more than 60 instructors on the platform, is the chance to see them teaching, to hear them, to listen to them. You will find some that are mainly focused on interpretation, others that are mainly focused on technique, others again that are mainly focused on on a particular system, on a particular ideology, and then every student, every user can match it all together and see what's best for himself. But it's a great chance. It's something that I think no one in the world could really afford without internet. So this is, if I have to recap what is best, this is the best payoff.
And I would just like to add something, which is, let's say, from my perspective as an artist manager, is that many times, because of internet, if people want to engage you or they maybe see you somewhere on social media, they contact you directly. So, you cannot hide anymore and say, oh, call my manager or do this and that. It sounds even sometimes a bit stupid. So you really have to be able to deal with these kind of things, that people find you directly, they can see your Facebook page, your musician page, they see you on YouTube. So you also have to know how to communicate with those people. And I also had very often in the past with some of my musicians that, after the concert, okay, I organize, I book it, I have the contract, but they go on stage and I could not always attend it. After the stage, they have a drink, they have to know how to talk to a sponsor, they have to know how to thank their host, they have to know how to, connect to them and make sure that they are invited another time. So all these aspects are really, from this 21st century, I would say it's not even a question anymore, it's a must. You take it all, you get the whole package.
Exactly. This is so important, such an important advice, because stepping back maybe 60, 70 years ago, artists could afford sometimes to act as prima donnas and just be uninvolved and leave it all in the hands of their servants. Managers today are no longer servants at all. Managers are our partners, but you can't really work with a partner if another partner is refusing to participate. It's just not as productive. Your company is called an academy, and I absolutely admire you for including that name because of how you what you offer and how you organize your offering. There is a very good reason for this offering to be called an academy. Please tell us a little bit about the structure, and maybe we can then, with your permission, play a few samples of different areas of learning which you offer.
I think, Gianriccardo, you could explain it the best.
Well, the structure, you mean the structure of the website, the platform, or the structure of the lessons
the structure of different areas of courses, because I understand your courses cover different areas of what needs to be learned.
Yes. Actually, in the first period of the production, we plan to record lessons and masterclasses as they would held in a conservatory. So we'll see later in the videos, we have a teacher, we have a student, we have a pianist, an accompanying pianist possibly, and the lesson goes like that with a dialogue between the teacher and his student / assistants, because of course we had very good students to record this masterclass. So the students, we consider them assistants rather than students. And through this format, they go over the topics that the teachers wants to cover in that masterclass. And once again, about the same argument, a user can find different way from teachers to approach the same subject. Then we started to develop a parallel format, let's say, which is simply teachers talking with a camera, which means there would no longer be this dialogue between teacher and student, but the teacher is really talking to you, to the user, and he's covering all the topics, all the critical points that after his experience, his or her experience, he already knows that that would be a problem for a student, okay? So he's going to structure his lessons and his courses just talking with the camera. This is, let's say, the modern way, which doesn't mean that we are abandoning the first, because they have two different purposes and two different fruitions. So we are implementing the catalog of the traditional masterclasses, as well implementing the catalog of the modern courses. Of course, the courses, unlike the masterclasses, are covering different topics, different levels of difficulty, different instruments, and they are dedicated to, let's say, vertical subjects. So we have a course exclusively dedicated to violin vibrato. And then we have another exclusively dedicated to bowing, and so on. So this is the feature that a modern course, so teacher camera, allows, without abandoning and without forgetting, which could be a big mistake, the traditional teaching from teachers who come from the culture of the conservatory.
Oh, absolutely. You're showcasing teachers from completely different music schools and completely different established schools and approaches, which had already proven to produce phenomenal musicians. And when you put them next to each other, that actually allows your audience and the students, allows them to find themselves in this wealth of information. But not only you also offer, so you offer courses in musicianship and technique, but you also offer courses which are meant to help musicians sort of round their education and add the elements which we all mentioned before. And if you would allow us, we would like to play some short segments which will outline the scope of the work of iClassical Academy and what you offer to musicians in the modern world. We'll start with the first segment, and I understand this is a short snippet of a first form of the offering, where it's a more traditional masterclass, Grieg Violin Sonata No. 3 in C minor, first movement. And the professor of on the video is Virginia Robillard, and the student Gennaro Gardarapoli, and assistant pianist, and I love that you call the pianist assistant pianist, Sandra Sitek.
Very good. Could we try one Sander without the tremolo? Just you play the chord. Okay, great. How do you feel when you play with these chords without tremolo?
It's more cantabile. It's
more cantabile.
More piano, maybe.
Yeah.
For the accord, for the harmony.
Okay, and the way you play it, you feel like it's a different theme, or it's the same theme, or?
It's different.
It's different. Okay, what's the dynamic?
Piano.
Okay, so now let's do with the tremolo and really plays with what's happening when a tremolo is heard.
Okay.
Okay, good. What's happening when there's a tremolo? How do you feel? What's the difference? Can you play tremolos?
Something is happening.
Okay, frightening, yeah?
Frightening.
Agitato. We are not comfortable. So something is a bit like scary. We don't know what's happening. So this thing, if you play... it's just beautiful, and it's beautiful. But with the tremolo... Okay, what did I change technically?
Vibrato.
Different, vibrato. Faster. Okay. What did that change with the energy?
It's more agitato. Also,
Me. Yes, exactly. Okay. You cannot just transmit by technique. If you have wonderful vibrato or rapido and you don't feel it, it's not worse. So both. Okay.
okay.
That's a wonderful instruction, and just please comment on that video and the course.
Well, you can see that really you can see that the teachers goes through different steps one by one, like taking the students do this and then try this, and then what happens when we do this other, and then what is the result of this. And this is really something that the users can really enjoy rather than study. I think it's very interesting for a user to put himself or herself in the shoes of the students, well, even of the teachers if they want, but and see what if I would be in that place, what should I do, what could I do, would I be able. So all these questions that the musicians have running through their minds can find many answers, maybe not all of them, but many.
Oh, that
for sure.
certainly is very thought-provoking. Every master class is
Yeah.
very thought-provoking because
Yeah.
the teachers are sharing their method of how to start with just learning the notes of the piece and with a remarkable and noticeable, memorable interpretation of the music.
Yeah.
Irma, you have a comment, or would you like us to move us? Otherwise, we'll move to the next.
I think we can move to the next, yes.
Okay, so our next little preview is Schumann Symphonic Etudes, and that is a piano masterclass, and Professor Sandra Sittig and assistants Daniel Rishika.
Also, the penultimate note of the melody I couldn't hear so clearly. It seemed like you played and the A sharp belonged to a different voice. So make sure all the notes belong to the same voice. Let's try again. That was better. You have to also be aware that in the second bar, the resolution of the A into the G sharp should be done very cleverly. The A diminishes. Every tone on the piano diminishes, as we know, but the A diminishes even more because it's a long note. So you have to connect to the next note in such a way that that one is softer than the notes you played before. Otherwise, it will sound like an accent. This is only the beginning of such a long work. And I think if you already give so many emotions in the fifth and the sixth bar of this piece, how much reserve have we got to open up even more later? Because you go somehow with more power and already a sixth higher. So even if you play exactly the same, it sounds louder and more open. So I would almost do the opposite. And then you can at least grow without immediately being extrovert and brilliant.
Okay.
And then keep the rhythm, the double darting. You change the rhythm there.
Okay.
Go from the forte. Less triplets, less sextuplets. Not. That's enough. We will hear them anyway.
That's incredible. I'm a pianist. I'm enjoying every second of this instruction. Creating the three-dimensional world out of those triplets with a theme and balancing it. Oh my gosh, this is great stuff.
And something that we tend to suggest is when the users they watch this lesson is to take their time, not to be in a hurry. Really enjoy every second of each lesson. Is really enjoyable, and they contain so many details, so many thoughts, and so many playings that I suggest to any users, not only for a classical academy, not only for virtual concert halls, every kind of utilization of an online learning or performing. It has to be enjoyed second by second. So it would be a sort of wrong attitude to say, okay, let's click this, let's watch this, I'm a little bit in a hurry, so what is better you take your time in general.
So we had seen a little bit of the violin masterclass and the piano, and our next segment will be the cello masterclass, and it's on Elgar Cello Concerto in E minor, first movement. The professor is Emmett Pled and assistant Fair Albridge.
Follow the bow, follow. Yes. Okay, good. Now the water starts to boil. You agree? Mm-hmm. When it boils, that means physically that you have to be more involved, no? Don't you think? I mean, you have to be in a better posture in order to produce. If it's a singer, if you're like, ti di di or ti da di da, so you have to feel planted to the ground. Mm-hmm. What you do is this. You are here, you finish the B, so you pass the butter, but you say, you know what, I'll just stay here. And you're using the worst part of the bow for the most emotional part in the music. Mm-hmm. This part, I call it the magical area of the bow, because here we create magic. If you play Debussy, I mean, you can do whatever you want here. There's no weight. Mm-hmm. Weight is distributed here. It's not natural. Here, it's natural. So when you want to produce sound, I call it go back home. This is home. This is away from home. If you stay away from home and need to produce, something is wrong. So on the long note, go back home. So the short note is always here. It's really comfortable. And remember at the beginning of the lesson, we did this? Can you do it now a lot when you play ti da da and vibrate the short note? Bravo. Keep the roots down. Yeah, great. I love it. Wonderful. Great sound.
Yes, that was great sound and great transformation.
You can see that Professor Peled, he's a very modern teacher. You know, you can really perceive he belongs to the latest generation of teachers. So they can use expression like when the water starts to boil, no? Which is something that. But they are very much able to synthesize with a short phrase and in a short time something that could, like, this topic he was covering right now about bringing the bow back home, meaning by home the part close to the frog, is a concept that any even many students they could just think, well, I really never thought of this in this perspective.
Exactly.
And they
Exactly.
can grab in a second something that could accompany them for the whole life. So really better not to miss these lessons.
Oh, better not to miss these
Better
lessons,
not to miss this.
and you can go back and watch them again. That's another
Exactly.
beautiful thing
Of
about
course.
it.
Yes.
Now, these were three more traditional masterclass courses which a Classical Academy offers. Now, our next segment is the branch of the courses which the Academy offers in self-management and involvement in the career. So our next segment is it's called that way, self-management, course in the self-management.
Hi, my name is Irma de Jong, Executive Director of iClassical Academy and Artist and Project Manager with more than 28 years of experiences in the classical music world. I created the Self-Management course for musicians, a course about how to communicate with the professional music world, with managers, promoters, sponsors, colleagues, and your audience. What do you find in this course? It's a course to help you build your online identity and teaches you how to get skilled about branding and promotion. The course starts with a chapter about setting your goals and determining your musical identity. We have a look at your biography to see if it's attractive enough, and if not, you'll find a 3-step plan to make it a perfect, appealing and helpful tool. You will learn how to become a great networker and what tips and tricks you have at your disposal to become the best at it. You will also learn about generation management, which is a framework to define the different generations we have in our society and why it is important for you to know about it. Then we move on to how to build your website, what tools are at your disposal, and which is the best to use. You will learn what is a good website, how to create your menu, where to focus on depending on the goals you set for yourself. I show you the do's and the don'ts, and I go through a lot of websites as an example to show you what works and what doesn't, and I give you an insight of how a manager looks at your website. Social media is a great tool, but you need to know how to use it. I show you what works and what not, and I give you a general overview. You'll find different chapters and videos for Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You'll learn how to write effective emails and other messages and how to do the follow-up by phone. I give you tips and tricks, the length of messages, for example, the header, the grammar check, and other elements. Overall, this course is a lot about communication that you need to know, understand, and master before you start branding and promoting yourself. With each video, there is a PDF with a short summary of the lesson and an exercise to check if you master the content. You can buy the course as a course for self-study. You can also buy it with my personal feedback and advice. I'm more than happy and excited to share my 28 years experiences with you, and I look forward to see you soon in my course.
That's an incredible course. And what I love so much about your work, Irma, is you're all about communication. And you're talking to musicians. Our profession is all about communication. It's so easy to forget. Why are we on the stage? We're on the stage to communicate something. Now, embracing the musical form or language of communication and rejecting other forms of communication which help us present ourselves as a musician, I think is a mistake, which a lot of musicians need to rethink and maybe not make anymore.
Absolutely true. I couldn't agree more. And that's one of the reasons, of course, why I created the course, but also because of my experience with a lot of young musicians. And I was, a couple of years ago, I was so astonished how little they knew, how little they got taught in the conservatory. Today, many conservatories, they have already more programs and more stuff about this. But it was only a couple of years ago. So I said, okay, if they don't have this, why don't we produce it ourselves? And by the way, the advantage of following this kind of things online is that, for example, in iClassical Academy, we also have other teachers talking about these subjects. We have a wonderful saxophonist, Mike Vaccaro. He recently joined us, and he also created a course, Music and Business. And this guy, he is really the perfect example of a musical entrepreneur. He's saxophonist. He has his own management. He's a producer of radio shows. He's doing a lot of stuff. He has a lot of interesting storytelling and information and experiences to share with the audience. And this is really encouraging to see that it is possible. It's not impossible to become a musical entrepreneur. It's really possible. It's there. The opportunity is there. You just need the commitment, determination, and you go for it.
Exactly. And so iClassical Academy has a whole branch of courses which you offer to advanced musicians to improve their interpretive skills, like what we saw in those 3 samples of master classes. And then you have a branch of courses which you offer for self-entrepreneurship. You also have a whole branch of courses you offer for less advanced students who, nonetheless, can benefit from the best instruction. So our next sample is on Bach inventions, which are traditionally pieces for younger students or amateur musicians to progress with their understanding of polyphony. So we'll play the next segment with Bach inventions and hear your comments on that branch of your courses.
Hello, I'm Fernanda Machado, pianist and teacher at Piano Class. I'm here to share with you more than 30 years of knowledge and experience playing the piano with art. Would you like to learn one of the most joyful inventions from Bach and improve your artistic skills at the same time? That's exactly what you get from this course. Far beyond the basics of notes and keys, let's build your own unique artistic interpretation while developing great practice habits and skills that will last for life. We'll approach the music through different perspectives, and I will show you in detail what, when, and how to proceed at each moment. I've recorded more than 2 hours of lessons, divided into short, precise, and objective videos. But that's not enough. You'll also access supporting PDF materials, Hangley Library exclusive layers, and 15 performance videos. You will feel that I will be by your side every step of the way, developing a conscious knowledge background to support the construction of your own interpretation and performance. I'm really excited to have you here with me, ready to start this amazing adventure of making music and art on the piano.
I cannot hear Anna.
My apology.
Yes.
I was just saying that exactly. This is exciting to be learning the Bach inventions and the early stages of polyphonic music. Please comment on that branch of your courses.
Well, it's interesting to see, for example, in courses like this, she uses, Professor Fernanda Machado, she uses a lot of cameras, as you saw. This is not always necessary, but it's certainly a part of the teacher's culture and the teacher's preparation. There are some teachers, they really don't need a lot of cameras to record their courses. Not only they don't need it, but they don't want it because maybe a violinist, they like to stay because they need to stay on the same frame all the time, or almost all of that, because they need it like this. In the case of Fernanda, we have a lot of cameras, we have a lot of perspectives, and she provides 15, if I'm not wrong, 15 or 16 different performances of the same piece. Not different performances with different camera views. So you have the left hand, the right hand, the above camera, and so on, because she believes in this method. This is another thing that, when you have many teachers, you can provide. So different system also in going through the screen and going through the cameras to come to the users and provide their teaching.
That's an incredible view of the performance from 15 different angles.
Yes.
Honestly, I never thought it
Believable. Yes,
would
yes.
be possible without it being done this way.
When she told us, we also couldn't believe
Yes.
it. But then, it looked like a typo in the first mail. Now 15 performance. Now maybe she meant 5, and instead she meant really 15.
Really 15.
Yes.
But that's incredibly educational. Looking from under the hand, above the hand.
Exactly.
But
That's
not
what she
only,
meant.
I find it extremely cool idea.
Because she believes in the right position. So that kind of position, that kind of finger, and that kind of movement that should be the same from each student. So you can see that it's a precise mentality bringing to a precise system in also in recording and editing.
And for some students and teachers, that may be just how they want to work and how they would approach the best result,
Yes.
approach a path towards the best result, I want to say.
Yes.
But that also brings us to the other whole branch of what's involved with online learning and online presence and online performing, which is audio home recording. And you have a course on that too. So we will play a sample of the audio home recording course, and after that, would you please comment on how you created it and what was your objective in creating this type of courses?
Hi, I'm Tony Schultz. I'm the instructor for home recording for the classical musician. I have been an audio engineer, music producer, and composer for more than 30 years as owner-operator of Big T Productions in Boston, Massachusetts. I have also been teaching audio technology for more than 20 years. I started my studio in my apartment. Back then, there were limited options available for recording at home. Analog tape machines were still the method of recording since computers were not yet able to be used to record audio. Now, there are many products available at very economical prices that can produce great results on just a laptop within the home environment. However, you still need to know what equipment to choose and how to apply proper techniques in order to produce recordings that you are happy with. In this course, you will learn about the basic tools and process of recording acoustic instruments in the home environment with a focus on 2-track recording and mixing. I will go over setting up your recording workstation, audio and computer connections, using an audio interface, microphone types and uses, overview of the features of Audacity, a free audio recording software application, capturing the sound with proper recording levels, fundamentals of acoustics, and editing audio. I will walk you through a recording experiment to become familiar with the sound of rooms in your own environment and discover ways to best utilize the places available to you for recording. I will also show you ways to prepare your recording environment for optimal results, as well as an overview of mixing workflow with a demonstration of the process. There are many listening examples throughout the course, as well as resource links to the various products mentioned in the lessons. I feel it's important for every musician to know how to record themselves, whether it be for capturing song ideas, reviewing the performance of a particular piece, or preparing for a recording session in a commercial studio. Just like practicing an instrument, the recording process can be very challenging at first. It takes time to develop your skills. You must be patient and experiment. Once you become familiar with the process, you will find yourself growing as a musician and composer in ways that you might not have expected.
I find that incredibly true. Once you start learning what's involved with a recording or virtual performing and technology, you find yourself growing as a musician in ways you did not expect. That is my personal experience too. Would you please comment on the creation of this course and other similar courses?
Personally, I'm very proud to have this course, particularly on our platform. First, because we were thinking for years how to communicate to users to record themselves. And this idea came from teachers, because many teachers nowadays, they tell to their students, record yourself. Now, of course, you can record yourself even with just your smartphone. It's better than nothing. But or you can go to a studio, which is pretty costly. In between, there are a lot of solutions which are provided by the fact that nowadays the technology, the microphones, the equipment, you can have very good equipment with very little money. This course tells about how to provide a professional equipment in your home, spending not more than $300 or $400. Because this is also a big transition in our era. What was very costly yesterday is not so costly anymore today. And then to use the environment, I mean the room that you have, to use it at the best. And then there are a lot of suggestion. You can use a free app to edit or to start editing, to start understanding what's editing, so you can cut your own pieces. This is also a big. In some cases, you could even record pieces in your own environment, your home, your studio, your venue, whatever it is, and then go to a studio to complete the mastering in order to do a record. Or at least you will have a lot of ideas about you will really understand first about yourself as a musician, and then what kind of tools you have to record, to mix, and to prepare your music in order to communicate to others. That's also a part of the online communication, I mean.
Of course, absolutely. We will also play a little snippet of a very popular and very important topic. When we covered the master classes, these were more general musicianship master classes, but you have also courses designed specifically for very important technical aspects. So we will play the violin vibrato information and information on vibrato and that technique, which is extremely vital to every violinist.
Hi, I'm Beth Blackerby from violinlab.com, and I'm presenting a course on vibrato for iClassical Academy. So vibrato is one of those techniques that everyone is very eager to learn. Unfortunately, that eagerness is easily diminished because it's not easy to learn, and it takes a long time. And I realized not too awfully long ago that it wasn't for a lack of knowledge. I think there are plenty of really good YouTube videos about how to do vibrato, including a couple of my own. I don't think it's for a lack of trying or a lack of practice. I think it's for a lack of process. There is a process for learning vibrato. And if you skip any of the necessary steps, you won't get to the end. You won't have a successful, beautiful vibrato. So that's what the vibrato trainer is. It is the process. So it's a series of instructional videos where I take you through each step, each phase of learning the proper vibrato motions. I include both wrist and arm, although I demonstrate mostly with wrist vibrato. And then to really integrate the concepts, there's a series of musical workout videos. So one of the reasons I made these musical workout videos was to keep you engaged, to make it fun so that you practice more often, but also to really build the skill properly, because a vibrato is not a vibrato unless it's rhythmic. So when you're practicing the vibrato motions to music, you're building a motor. You're building a powerful motor. So we start simple. We start with just the basic motion of the fling. This is what I call a fling. And then once you get control with that and it feels easy, you go to double flings. And then, as you might guess, you go to triple flings and then quadruple flings. And the beautiful thing about these players is that they're speed controls. So you can speed it up and you can get quicker and quicker to the point, okay, that you can still do it evenly, you can control the movement, and your muscles still stay very relaxed, because we're building stamina. All right, so we're building a very, very powerful vibrato motor. We have to establish that first. Then we add the bow, because we want to establish independence between the right arm and the left hand. And for a while, we have to make some unfortunate kinds of sounds like, but gradually we'll be adding finger pressure in increments. And then we go to using full pressure, but we do that first without the bow. And eventually we'll be getting single, beautiful vibrato notes. Establish that, then we have to learn how to change fingers and keep the vibrato motor going. So those were just some of the steps in the course. I didn't show you every step in the interest of time. But by the time you work your way through the course, and it could be 2 months or 3 months, or as long as 6 or 7 months, it depends on how often you practice and your background. But the ultimate goal is that you will start using it in your playing. It will become one of your default mechanisms for expressive playing. I also have some really beautiful pieces for you to work on that will encourage you to play with continuous vibrato. So go ahead and get the course, get started, start practicing and learn vibrato. We just, to a beat, we go fling, rest, rest. Will not naturally and organically morph into any sort of a hybrid vibrato where there's some element of wrist motion. I think to have some element of wrist flexibility does make for the best kind of vibrato. All right, so let's get started.
This is incredible. To me, this is a representation of your philosophy of all-inclusivity, because this is an incredible step-by-step learning guidance for someone who is not in the conservatory, but maybe has an aspiration and a talent to become a great musician. They can learn the technique step by step from a great professor who's going to lead them with a proven and sure path to the result.
Of course, vibrato is a fundamental in the dynamics, and Beth Blackerby developed this course. Is one of the longest that we have. It's 43 videos, and of course, she goes through every kind, and she proposes her system based on a real step-by-step guidance, exactly as you said, which means that the user could even skip a part of it if he thinks or she thinks that she's not really starting from the beginning. There are many different topics in the course, and in this case could be that one can start from the half of it, or start with and then go back to the others if they wish. Anyway, it's a very complete course.
It's an incredible tool. Just a few podcasts before, we had a judge who was proposing that Sound Espressivo competition as an open platform, all-inclusive platform, potentially will bring a spotlight on musicians who maybe never went to formal conservatory, but they nowadays have access to those incredible tools like what iClassical Academy is offering, and are able to master the mechanics of performance, because clearly the mechanics are really important, and but they're only as important as the message which musicians have and want to share. And of course there are some musicians who have access to the conservatory classes in the actual physical conservatory and learning in person, but there are also others who have maybe a message not any less important, not any less appealing to the audience, but they don't have the luxury of being admitted to one of the top conservatories. So now through the iClassical Academy courses, they have the access. It is the practical solution to all-inclusive approach to the musical scene and to the musical world. And the next little sample of a course we would like to offer our viewers is about stage fright. And that is an aspect of performing which is very present in musicians stepping on stage and sharing their art. And it's extremely important for musicians to know it exists, for those who are starting their music career, and what to do about it.
Yeah.
We are here today to speak a very important subject, which is stage fear. I am in the Haute École de Musique de Lausanne in Switzerland. My name is Virginie Robiliard. I am a French violinist, soloist, and I'm teaching also in this prestigious institution. So there's different degrees of stage fear, and I have to speak very often with the students about this because somehow it's a very taboo subject. I think we don't speak enough about stage fear because we all have problems when we have to enter the stage with our nerves. Many artists have stage fear and they get nervous, and even the very famous artist also gets nervous, and it's absolutely natural. I think when we will not have any nerves before we are going to play, we probably have a problem. The fact that we get nervous is a good sign that we want to do it very well, that we want to give our best, that we want to express music. It's a sign that we want to give all the good energy to the music. It's a good sign. So the first question will be, why do we get nervous and what are we scared of?
Yes, those questions are so important to answer. Please comment on how did you come about to choosing the topic?
Well, actually, it was Virginie Robillard herself, because she's very much involved in this matter, and she has a lot of students who are talking to her about it, and she said that it was really important that we should do also something about stage fright, or stage. You can also call it how to feel more secure on stage. However, what is interesting in this course is that she also gives a couple of exercises on how to manage better with your stage fright, and she gives some practical tips on, for example, there's an exercise of imagination, and really bring it from the top of being nervous to be down of feeling very much secure because maybe you had a wonderful performance. So she really wants you to visualize all these effects and make it so real to you that you feel already without performing what it could do to your body. And that's really very interesting. And by the way, what I also think is interesting about online performance is that if you suffer from a lot of stage fright and you're trying to overcome and find technique to help you with it, I think that if you start to perform online, this could maybe help you, because you can imagine the camera is your audience, but you don't see the people, you don't feel it with your energy. So maybe it could help you to overcome, and when you then, at a certain moment when you can get back to the stage, you probably feel more secure. It could really help you already.
I absolutely agree. The virtual performing can be a great tool for education and for offering the students possibilities to perform in the comfort of their home. And for me as a pianist also, it's important in the comfort of my own piano. Violinists and flutists have the luxury of bringing their instrument with them, but we pianists don't. And so it can be a very effective tool for teachers to provide the students with the ability to perform and to invite their friends and guests and family, and also to bring together their families which may be in different parts of the world. Yeah. And so providing the tools for not just performers, not just the students, but also for the teachers is another branch of the courses which iClassical Academy is offering. And this is just an incredibly mind-blowing concept which you developed of rounding this education and bringing in all aspects which are involved. So our next sample is teaching children. It's a tool for the teachers to help them be more effective, more productive, more inspiring, and essentially teach better.
A common problem among musicians is that we play and at the same time criticize ourselves, like there was someone inside of us just waiting to attack. It is possible to get good results without pressure and having fun, because demanding we need. But demanding and having fun don't need to be two different poles. I believe we should praise our pupils when they find mistakes. Good, smart, you're a clever person. We should not aim to the moment where we succeed on stage, but to the moment where we share music with other people on stage. However inspiring the teacher is in the lessons, it is essential what happens at the child's home. The help and support of the parents is important. If one 9-year-old plays better than another one, a teacher cannot draw conclusions from this and foresee how the situation will be in some years.
Just a few seconds of what we saw shows the richness and the depth of the instruction which you draw and offer to your audience. This is incredible. Please comment on this this course, how it was developed and why.
Well, maybe I start first. We actually worked with this Finnish professor, a professor in viola. She's also a conductor from Sibelius Academy. And Sibelius Academy was one of the first academies, I mean, let's say the official academies that embraced also iClassical Academy. So they have a large group of their students actually using our masterclasses and courses. And so it was sort of a proposal from our professor that we work with in Sibelius Academy, that she told us that there is this teacher and she has developed this wonderful course, and it was in a collaboration with another professor who's not into music studies, but he's more into mental skills, like exactly this transition of criticizing yourself to making it a positive thing so you can learn from it. Exactly why they say not calling it stage fright, but they call it stage confidence. Because if you hear stage confidence, if I tell you stage confidence, you feel much more secure already than when I talk to you about stage fright. If you hear the word fright here in your brain, you get these alarm bells like, oh my God, this is not going to be fun. But if you hear confidence, you're like, oh, luckily. It can also be like this. So this course is really great because it's for teachers, and it helps teachers to how to teach music to children, which is not always so easy. We all know that they're little, they have a lot of energy, they maybe sometimes need to run, or you have to introduce other kind of techniques. So it's a very, very interesting course. And we developed it together with Professor Pierkal and also with Ben Voerman, who is the one who has developed a lot of mental courses, especially for kids, on also education. So to help parents, how to educate your kids, how to approach them from this positive way, instead of always saying like, this you didn't do good, this is not well. No, he has this old technique of really reaching out to parents and giving them a different set of tools.
This is incredibly rounded. I keep coming back to the same word, and I risk to sound redundant, but truly, this is the gem of iClassical Academy, bringing in different aspects which are involved with classical music learning, performing, and teaching, and managing. All of those given through the courses by people who actually know what they're talking about, because they had done it themselves and they had done it successfully. One of the biggest problems for modern musicians is the wealth of information is out there, and people who just begin navigate the virtual space get very confused and discouraged because the amount of information poses additional challenge to choose which of that information is better to follow. And you put in the same place the courses and the advice to people how to navigate them, how to find the best source of information which is going to actually lead them with proven techniques, proven results, and with real path forward to better performance. Speaking of the virtual stage is new. It's different from physical concert hall. At one point in history, physical concert hall was new too. People were more used to performing in different settings. Big opera houses did not exist, they were not built yet. So it's not unusual for the humanity and for the artists to go from one stage form to the next stage form and make the transition and learn how to use it and how to build it better. How do you see the attractive sides of virtual stage and its potential compared, or maybe in addition to what we are more used to, the physical stages?
Well, maybe I go first. I can only see it as a big opportunity. And I never separate the two things. They exist together. Right now we have a crisis, and it means that the virtual stage is more present than the physical stage. then we grow probably to an era where both of them are together, because also Gianriccardo mentioned it already. You can go at a certain moment maybe to your physical hall, and you have the possibility to put a couple of cameras, so you're not only reaching your, let's say, the audience in your own city where you live, or the province where you live, the region where you are, you're also able to connect to the rest of the world. And so I would say that this period you could really use to build up this virtual audience as well. And then when you come back to physical performances, you will have it both, and it's complementary. It's not separated. For me, it's never separated. It both exists. It has both advantages, maybe some disadvantages, but it's both there, and it's a wonderful tool altogether.
Gianriccardo, you would like to add something?
Well, it's really. I often tell people when I talk to people, and we talk about this era we are living right now, and the past eras like the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. Well, I would not exchange, to tell the truth, with all the problems that we have, but I would never exchange this era with the previous one, because it's really the era of the new opportunities. Virtual stage, by the way, we use the word virtual, but I mean, on the other side of the screen there are people. It's not because sometimes to use virtual it could look like we are pretending there is someone on the other side, but it's not a real person. I mean, we are all real, and virtual means we just bring through technology performances to a lot of people. And it's also the opportunity not only to be visible, but it's the opportunity to rehearse, because it's rehearsable. You can rehearse about this anytime. You can get more confident in time with this mental habit of be visible and to perform online. So I really would suggest to everyone, throw yourself in and give it a try, and then give it another try, and get confident with the tool, and with the fact that you are in a place and you have a lot of people watching you, which, okay, they are not right in front of you, but they are really physically watching you, and you are a real person, and they can really appreciate you. It's not the case. It's another thing that musicians shouldn't miss.
Yes. What is your motivation in participating in the Sound Espressivo competition, the first virtual live performance competition organized, and you're offering some fabulous prizes to the future winners? Why did you decide to step in and support this initiative and support the future contestants?
Well, to tell the truth, Anna, I think we answered this already.
In some ways, yes.
I mean, we find it really important that you have the opportunity to explore everything that is possible online, and it's very important that you also have great competitions online, and that you have a great stage online, which is dedicated to classical music. This is a very important thing. So I have not even had one doubt to participate, yes or no. For us, it's really important to be connected to you and to Sound Espressivo and to the virtual concert halls.
How are you going to approach choosing the recipients of the prizes from iClassical Academy? Because in this competition, there are many things which were revised. One of which is the panel of the judges will determine the laureates of the competition. But just like in the real life, I personally went through a lot of competitions, and everyone who is behind organizing this competition, majority of us are musicians who had gone through competitions. And a lot of times, winning a competition doesn't translate into getting the prizes. Sometimes, you get the money, but you don't even know what to do with it. And a lot of times also the managers shared with us that they feel disenchanted participating in the big competitions because they have to commit to providing services to the potential winners who they don't know who those winners will be, whether or not their services and the winners will be a good match. So in the Sound Espressivo competition, the managers and the companies themselves, the people who run those companies, are deciding who will be the recipient of your competition. Give us a little bit of a hint to our future contestants how to win the prizes from my Classical Academy. What should they do?
I find it a difficult question to tell the truth, because let's say it's also for us the first time it's an online competition. So we were already, let me give you maybe an example of a physical competition that we were in the past and where we also granted some prizes. We would grant it, or because we agreed with with the organization that the first prize would have it, and if we would have a chance, then I have to be honest with you, we chose very often the ones that we thought would need it the most. Because if you win the first prize and you have already like a big appearance and you have, maybe you show a lot of confidence, and what we also sometimes do, we go and check social media, how active is a person, So it's either, it could either be that we see who would need it the most, or I don't know, maybe Gianriccardo, you want to add something? I cannot really completely answer
I
it.
basically, I basically agree. Who needs the most, and who we think that could have the more significant attitude to learn online. So who we think that shows a potential of increasing through learning online. This is what we look for.
So artistic potential, potential to express through music, and potential to learn and grow through online help and through online platform.
Yeah.
You heard that, contestants. Now you know what to show. Thank you for sharing that. I think this is very important and practical advice. To finish our program for today, I would like to ask you to summarize and just give a little message to the teachers, the audience, and the contestants of the Sound Espressivo competition. Irma, would you like to go first?
All right, I'll give it a try, because you mentioned 3 different audiences. But let's say it's also overlapping. Why not? You can be in the audience and maybe you are a really great amateur musician for some reason. You maybe had a conservatory background, but you stopped it for whatever reason, and this competition invites everybody. So I'm addressing these 3 audiences in one, because I believe that they could be in one. And I just want to say that this period is not an easy one. It's a challenging one, but it's also offering a lot of opportunities. So I think we should embrace it, and we should not be afraid to stand still sometimes, or maybe we think that we stand still. But instead, we will have a lot of more time and dedication for the other things that we were not thinking of when we were still in, let's say, 2 years ago. So it's an opportunity. You should never let yourself leading by fear. And you should always remember that your trust is much bigger in whatever you do. So I would encourage you to use also that trust in what you are and what you believe in as a musician, to be authentic and express your musicality, the person you are online, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that people will have an opinion about it, or that's not that's not the goal. The goal is that you have confidence that whatever you present online is the best that you do at that moment, and that the people that watch you, they embrace you, they have confidence, and they really can help you to bring you to a different or a next level. So I invite everybody to take part in this online experience, whether it's the competition or the virtual concert hall. Just go out there and please share your musicality, your artistry, I hope I say it right, with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irma. And Gianriccardo, please.
Well, I remember that. Well, I have to tell you, I have to confess something. I myself had an occasion to participate to a competition. It was very, very long ago, and internet didn't even exist. It was a competition for guitar, nothing special, and I didn't make it to get to the final. I didn't even make it to get to the semi-final, but I was very excited to participate, and the proof is that I still remember it. I found it a very big experience, and I noticed that also the audience was not so many people watching, but there were some, and the audience was also pretty much excited about this because will he make it or not? This was the question, at least about me, and of course. In the competition, there were a lot of very talented musicians. So, to the musicians, to the potential participants, I would say, don't hesitate. Throw yourself in, give it a try. It will be interesting. No matter how it goes, it would be very interesting. You will get an experience how out of it. You will make yourself more rich as a musician, as a person. You will be able to communicate to a lot of people. And for sure, however it goes, you will be appreciated. And to the listeners, well, watch it because it's really interesting. You can find so many people playing and expressing themselves in different ways. It's one of the most interesting experience that we can have, especially in this period, but even after this experience, as we said. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Irma. Thank you, Gianriccardo, for encouragement, for insight, for sharing yourself and your experience. This is invaluable to the future contestants, to the professional musicians, to everyone. We're all learning from you forward-looking people and your forward-looking company. Thank you for being with us today. And
Thank you.
We appreciate very much your input. And I'd like to thank our viewers, our future contestants, musicians, and also people behind the scenes of virtual concert halls, the team of producers who are also professional musicians who make these programs possible. Thank you all very much. See you again soon. Bye.